Hey guys, today we are going to read some more Look at Lucy. And so guys, let's get started and look at this. I did something. Okay guys, let's get started. We are just reading, I don't know if we're reading the whole book. I don't know. So guys, we're gonna read the whole book. Contest Day. The big day, Chapter 7, Contest Day. The big day was here. The Petorama Spokes Pet contest was just a couple of hours away. Bobby was excited, but he didn't want Lucy to get excited. He wanted her to be calm and cool. It took her aside and told her so. Lucy, you're going to be in a contest today. There are going to be a lot of other animals there. Lucy looked interested. You'll probably have to parade in front of some judges, Bobby went on. You can't get crazy. You just have to calm down, okay? Lucy snuggled her head under Bobby's hand. Did you understand what Bobby was saying? Bobby wasn't absolutely sure, but maybe she did, at least when Lucy jumped off the bed where they had been having their chat. She did so slowly. She didn't dash out of the room, knocking things over on the way either. Mr. Quinn was going to drive Bobby and Lucy to the contest. Sean and Twitch were coming with them. Candy and Butch were going to meet them at Petorama. Later that morning, the boys and animals piled into the car. I wish I could come, Mrs. Quinn said. Today was her day to volunteer at the hospital. Lucy will bring you back a blue ribbon, Mr. Quinn said. Sean frowned. Or maybe it will be Twitch, Mr. Quinn added. Have a fun time. Lucy, be good, Mrs. Quinn said as the car drove away. Do you think there will be a lot of animals at the contest? Sean asked. That question was answered when the car pulled into the mall parking lot. In front of Petorama, people were walking into the store with dogs, cats, and birds. One person had a ferret. Lucy put her paw on the open window and looked out. She had never seen so many animals in one place at one time. Her nose wiggled when they got out of the car. She tugged on her leash to get to the store faster. Lucy, Mr. Quinn said warningly. Lucy hopped around. Petorama was a madhouse. Barks, meows, squeaks, and chirps came from all directions. Employees in red Petorama aprons were checking in the pets, getting the photographs from their owners, and then leading people and animals through the back doors. Outside was a large grassy area, decorated with colorful balloons. Along the fence were a table and chairs for the judges. Altogether, there were about 30 furry, feathered, or scaly contestants. Hey, Bobby, Sean, over here. Candy and her mother were standing next to Butch. Despite the hubbub, he was taking a nap. While the grown-ups talked, Candy said, "Guess who's here?" "Who?" Bobby asked. "Mrs. Agatha Adams, and her cat, Ginger. Oh, Ginger. Ginger. Candy told them. Uh-oh, Bobby said. Over the summer, he and Sean had spent one long afternoon trying to find Lucy when she was chasing Ginger all over town. Lucy gave a happy yip when she saw Ginger. She pulled at her leash as if she wanted to start chasing Ginger all over again. Ginger, however, gave Lucy a disdainful look. She turned away from the beagle, her tail up in the air. Ginger looks pretty today, Candy said. Her collar makes her look like a queen. She's not as cute as Twitch, Sean said loyally. She's not as cute as Lucy either, Bobby said. Candy looked down at the drooling Butch. He was snoring. She's probably cuter than Butch. Candy was very honest. She added, there are plenty of cute pets here. Just then a woman with lots of brown hair piled on top of her head blew a silver whistle. Everyone stop talking and pay attention. Pets and pet owners, welcome. I am Lydia Jones, the manager of Petorama. In a few moments, our contest will start. As you know, the winner gets free pet food for a year. Our winner will also go on compete with the winners. Our winner will also go on to compete with the winners from the other Petorama stores throughout the state. The crowd buzzed. Miss Jones blew on her whistle again. I would like everyone to line up with their pets. Then you and your pet walk past the judge's table. Miss Jones introduced them. One worked at Petorama. He looked important. Another was a dog trainer. The third was the editor of the local newspaper. There was a bit of a rush to the line. Bobby was worried that Lucy wouldn't like all the confusion, but she took it in stride. In fact, she seemed to like being in the middle of all the hubbub. An accordion player began a lively tune. Miss Jones gave the go-ahead, and the animals and their owners started parading in front of the judges. A photographer from the paper snapped pictures as the pets marched by. Bobby, Sean, and Candy were in the middle of the line. It was moving a little slowly. One of their dogs was getting restless and started barking. Then that dog tried to race to the front of the line, but it wasn't Lucy. It was Butch. Butch, cool it, Candy said. She must have said it 5 times. Butch, however, wasn't in the mood to cool it. Instead, he stood in front of the judge's table barking. That got some of the other dogs in the contest barking too. Candy tried to pull him back in the line. Miss Jones came over to Candy and whispered in her ear. Candy looked sad, but she nodded. She walked Butch over to her mom, who gave her a hug. Wow, Sean said. Candy and Butch got kicked out of the contest. Bobby shook his head. What a time for Butch finally to get excited about something. He glanced down at Lucy. She seemed as cool as a cucumber. When she got to the front of the line, She strolled slowly past the judges. The photographer kneeled down to get a picture of Lucy. She stopped and posed for him. Bobby was surprised. What a time for Lucy to calm down. All the other animals marched past the judges. Then Mrs. Jones said, "We have cake and punch for you and treats for the pets. Please enjoy them while the judges make their decisions." Bobby, Sean, and Candy ate cake and waited for the judges. Bobby thought Candy would be upset about Butch, but nothing bothered her for long. "At least I got some cake out of the deal," she said. Bobby looked over at the judges. They were going through the animals' pictures and talking. Bobby wished he were close enough to hear them. He kneeled down next to his dog. "Whether you win or lose, Lucy, you did good," he said. Lucy licked Bobby's cheek. Maybe she was just licking off some frosting that had landed there, but Bobby didn't think so. Finally, Miss Jones went to the microphone. She had a piece of paper and a photograph in her hands. "Our winner is the little beagle, Lucy Quinn." "Lucy!" Bobby jumped up and gave a whoop. "Lucy won! This is absolutely the best news ever." Uh-oh. Chapter 8. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This was absolutely the worst news ever. Everything was fine when Lucy had won her blue ribbon, and when the photographer took lots of pictures for the newspaper, and when everyone congratulated Bobby and Lucy. Then Miss Jones pulled Bobby, Lucy, and Mr. Quinn aside. "Now you understand that the finals for the Petorama Spokespet contest are next week in the state capitol," Miss Jones said. "Yes, we know," Mr. Quinn answered. "We'll be there." Good, Miss Jones beamed at Lucy. "I think our little beagle has a good chance of winning the whole thing. She's delightful." Lucy quietly basked in the praise. Clearly, she didn't mind being described as delightful. "If Lucy wins the contest, it will be a big opportunity for you too, Bobby," Miss Jones went on. "If she becomes the Petorama spokespet, she will be in several television commercials." Mr. Quinn nodded. "I remember that was on the entry form. The pet's owners is part of the commercials as well. I'm sure Petorama would like to be featured a boy and a dog." Miss Jones beamed down at Bobby. Bobby looked up at his father in horror. Before he or his father could say anything, Miss Jones was pulled away by one of her employees. I can't be in a commercial," Bobby said. "I know, it wouldn't be your favorite thing, Bobby," his father said, "but you might not have many lines. It could be fun." Bobby thought about being in a TV studio with lots of strange adults telling him what to say and how to act. A scared, nervous feeling ran through his body. He looked at his father and shook his head. "We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, Bobby," his dad added. "Lucy might not win that contest for now. Let's enjoy Lucy's win today." That's what Bobby tried to do. Lucy was certainly enjoying it. If she were a cat, she would have purred instead of gave a short, happy barks. When anyone patted her, Bobby's mom was home. When they got back, she saw Lucy's blue ribbon right away. "Lucy won!" she exclaimed. Tell me all about it." So Bobby and his dad sat around the kitchen table and gave Mrs. Quinn a blow-by-blow account. Bobby got excited all over again about Lucy's win. Then Mr. Quinn explains about the television commercials, and Bobby felt himself flatten like a popped balloon. How do you feel about being in a commercial? Bobby, his mom asked. I'm not sure. I'm not. Bobby, his mom asked. Not good, Bobby muttered, or I don't know. Would you do it? Mrs. Quinn wanted to know. Bobby hung his head. I don't think I could. Mr. and Mrs. Quinn looked at each other. Mrs. Quinn said, if you don't want to do it, I'm not sure it would be fair to let Lucy take part in the contest. Bobby looked up shocked. Mr. Quinn explained Petorama is counting on a winner and an owner to be in the commercials. You could be in it, Dad, or you, Mom. I think the company would rather have a boy, his father replied. Besides, Lucy is your dog. Bobby felt terrible. He didn't want to keep Lucy from her big chance, but he didn't want to be in a commercial either. Mrs. Quinn looked down at Bobby. Bobby, we have a couple of days to think about this. Let's not make any decisions right now, okay? Okay, Bobby agreed. In the meantime, let's hang the blue ribbon on the living room mirror, she said. That night, when Bobby was getting under his covers, Lucy jumped up on his bed, like she always did. Bobby gave her a big hug. You had a good time today, huh? Lucy? Lucy wriggled closer to Bobby. You'd have a good time in the contest next week, too, Bobby said. Lucy just looked at Bobby with her big brown eyes. You could win that contest. You could be the Petorama spokespet easy. Bobby flopped back against his pillow. This was Lucy's big chance. Was it going to be ruined all because of him? Chapter 9, starring Lucy and Bobby. Now Bobby had two worries. He still had to stand in front of the class and give his oral report, and he had to decide what to do about the contest. On Monday, school, it was time to deal with worry one. Miss Lee said, I'm sorry the fire drill interrupted our reports. We'll get back them later today. All morning, Bobby worried. He worried through math, and he worried through spelling. It was raining hard during recess, so the class stayed inside. Miss Lee read from The Mouse and the Motorcycle. Bobby Barley heard her, and he loved that book. Soon it was almost lunchtime. Maybe he wouldn't have to give his report until the afternoon. Then he had an even better thought. Maybe Mrs. Lee would forget it was his turn, or what it was. She thought he had finished his report before the fire drill bell rang. That would be great. But at 11:45, Mrs. Lee said, let's get to some reports. Mrs. Lee looked around the room. Bobby held his breath. Then her eyes landed right on him. I think you were speaking when the bell rang, right, Bobby? Yes, ma'am. he whispered. Bobby dragged himself to the front of the room. All right, Bobby started over and speaked up, nice and loud. Miss Lee said. Bobby looked at his classmates. Looking back at him, he felt a little dizzy. He fixed his eyes on the clock and back at the room. My name is Bobby Quinn. I live with my parents. I like to draw superheroes. Bobby rushed along. And I have a beagle named Lucy. I got her this summer for my birthday. Any questions? That was how Mrs. Lee told them to end their reports, by asking if the class had any questions, hoping there weren't any. Bobby turned to go back to his seat. Bobby, a familiar voice called. Oh no, Candy had raised her hand. Bobby frowned. Some friend. Bobby, you should tell the class about how Lucy won the contest on Saturday, Candy said. Bobby could feel his face getting hot. That was a long story. Did Lucy win that contest at Petorama? Mrs. Lee asked. Bobby nodded. I almost entered my kitten in that contest. Tell us about it, Miss Lee said. Well, Bobby shyly began. The contest was out behind the Petorama store. I came with Lucy. Sean brought his mouse Twitch. I was there too, Candy said, waving her hands, with my dog Butch. Yes, Butch was there. Bobby didn't mention the trouble Butch had caused, but there was lots going on. Mrs. Lee asked. There was pretty good food and music and balloons and stuff. What kind of pets were there? Dexter called from his seat. Dogs, cats, even a ferret, Bobby remembered. The judges thought Lucy was the best for the first time during the report. Bobby smiled. What did she win? Grace asked. A blue ribbon and some free dog food, Bobby said. Don't forget, she's got a chance to be the Petorama spokespet, Sean reminded him. That's a spokespet. What's a spokespet? One of the kids wanted to know. Bobby explained about the contest. He felt a little knot in his stomach. He talked about the television commercials. The other kids thought it would be great to be in a commercial. Television! That would be awesome, Dexter said. You and Lucy would rock. Everyone in class seemed to agree. Well, thank you, Bobby. That report was wonderful, Mrs. Lee said. We'll all be eager to hear if Lucy wins the next contest. Bobby went back to his seat. Grace got up to give her report, but Bobby was thinking about what had just happened. He had been very, very nervous when he started speaking. Then everyone was so interested in Lucy and the contest. Talking to his classmates had seemed easy, but he couldn't quite believe it. When Bobby got home from school, he and his mom took Lucy for her walk. He told her what had happened. Mrs. Quinn pulled her sweater around her. It was getting cold. Well, Bobby, you were talking about some interesting and exciting. The other kids thought it was interesting and exciting too. I was talking about Lucy, Bobby said. Lucy heard her name and turned around. Everyone likes hearing about Lucy, Bobby added. So, have you thought up any more about the contest? Mrs. Quinn asked. Bobby nodded. I think we should go. Are you sure? Yes, Bobby said. This is my big chance for Lucy. I don't want to spoil it for her. She likes to be in the center of attention. I don't I don't, but today it wasn't It wasn't too bad. I think I could be in those commercials if Lucy wins. Mrs. Quinn gave Bobby a hug. You're getting so brave, Bobby. Lucy barked. She agreed. Chapter 10. And the winner is... Drumroll, please. Dun, 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 dun. Wow, Bobby said. He looked around the park. It was across from the state capitol building. Everything here was bigger and better than the contest at the mall. Candy-colored Pet-O-Rama banners decorated the park instead of an accordion player. There was a band of television crew was taping the event. Even the animals were different. These guys looks like they belong in a zoo, not a pet store, Mr. Quinn said. A couple of cats and dogs were there, but they were the fancy kinds, like the fluffy white Persian kitten in her owner's arms. There were also more exotic pets. One turtle was so big he had to be pulled in a wagon. A large green and blue parrot rested on someone's arm. Bobby spied something even more colorful. Look! A peacock next to an older lady spread its fan of beautiful blue and green feathers. Lucy seemed stunned at the display. She didn't even bark. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, Mr. Quinn said. There weren't any lions or tigers or bears around. Bobby knew that was just a line from the movie The Wizard of Oz. Bobby whispered to Lucy, You're cuter than any of these animals. He was still nervous about being in the TV commercial, but he also still thought about Lucy's win. Before very long, Bobby and Lucy were given a number that the woman in charge of the contest lines up all the pets and owners. Bobby and Lucy were given a number. The woman in charge of the contest lines up all the pets and owners. Bobby and Lucy were behind the turtle. They were in front of the parrot, and each pet had owner stopped and talked to the judges. The judges asked lots of questions. They looked at the animals carefully. It took a long time. Lucy was getting bored. When she got bored, she got jumpy. She started pulling toward the white kitten, which was behind the parrot. Bobby wondered if the cat reminded her of Mrs. Agatha Adams' cat, Ginger. Calm down, Lucy, Bobby said. No cat chasing today, please. Finally, it was Lucy's turn. Hello, said a judge with a gray hair. His name tag said Greg Smith, President Pet-O-Rama. Bobby gulped. He had never talked to a president before. Tell us about Lucy, Mr. Smith said. Lucy's the best dog ever, Bobby began softly. Then he remembered to speak up like when he gave his report. Bobby tried to talk more loudly. He told the judge how he got Lucy for his birthday and how she was his best friend. A lady judge asked Bobby, would you enjoy being in a television commercial, Bobby? Enjoy? I think Lucy would like it, he answered honestly. The judges spent a lot of time looking at Lucy. Lucy did her little prancy dance. The lady judge thanked Bobby. He and Lucy were about to move on when he heard a squawk behind them. Pet-O-Rama! Pet-O-Rama! Bobby whirled around. It was the parrot. Lucy let loose with a howl, but Bobby could see the judge's eyes light up with interest. I think I know who the winner is going to be, Mrs. Quinn said. She was waiting for Bobby at the end of the line. She didn't mean Lucy. Sure enough, when the judges named the winner, it was Paul the parrot. She is very beautiful, Mr. Smith said. He added happily, and she can tell people to shop at Petarama in her own special way. Bobby and his parents got ready to go back home. I'm sorry you didn't win, Lucy, Bobby said when they were in the car. It's hard to be a parrot that's squawking. Petarama, Mr. Quinn said. Lucy didn't seem to mind. She was chomping on a big bone-shaped biscuit the Petarama lady had given to all the dog contestants. Bobby thought about the bands and the banners, the parrots and the peacocks, and the giant turtle. I still have a lot to tell the class, Bobby said, grinning. You're looking forward to giving a report about it, Mrs. Quinn asked, a little surprised. Bobby was a little surprised himself. Standing in front of the class didn't seem so hard anymore. He was excited about it. Yes, I am. He gave Lucy a big hug. Absolutely. The end. So guys, we're gonna end this video right here, and we finished the book. And bye.